3D designers for the visual book. And this screencast, we're going to work in this area of the design to add in some fonts that are going to have some blur. And this is going to help convey the feeling of despair. So one of the first things I've done, I want to go to image rotation 180. And even though you haven't seen all of these on camera, I kept using this throughout the time I was designing, just turning this design around and around, whatever I needed to have facing up for me to be working. So I want to work in this area, so I turned the whole image around. And the word that needs to be in this part of the design is the word despair. So I'm going to click way down here in the corner, and I'm doing that just to avoid this big old letter E. And I have lorem ipsum, and I'm just going to type our word despair. There it is. And then I found an interesting trick. We can start putting effects on some of these words. Let me just change over so that it's selected with the move tool, and come up to filter, and we can start playing around with these blurs. I dropped into the blur gallery and used the tilt shift blur, and this is a new thing we haven't talked about yet, the idea of converting something into a smart object. And this capability in Photoshop allows you to go back and adjust things if you don't like exactly the way it's done. So it is a non-destructive option, so it's a good thing to use. I will accept what Photoshop is suggesting. And this is kind of, think of this like almost like a dialog box of what we want to have. How far do we want this blur to go? So I brought it on around here. I mean, look at how much you can make that word disintegrate, which I think is a great visual communication of that feeling of despair. So now that I've adjusted that, I'm going to hit return and accept that. You notice over here that there's some more information. We could go back and double click on this to go back into that blur and re-edit it if we didn't like it, but I do like this. I'm going to hit return again. So you see it's non-destructive. I want to repeat this more than once, so I'm going to take this layer and pull it down on the plus sign, and now there's a second despair here. Interesting, right? Nice and dark. I'm going to just pull this one down and rotate it. Again, just so that the computer can think, it's asking, hey, let me just take that filter off while I do this, what you're requesting of me, and we'll accept that. And let's do that again. And pull this one up. And I'm going to make this one smaller. Rotate it a little bit more. Accept that. I do think I want this one to be slightly bigger. And let me rotate it back this a little bit. So we're definitely, you can take some time to put it together the way you want it to be. I want to rotate this one just a little bit more down here. This one. There we go. Yeah. Okay, let me try that. We could keep going. We'll accept that for right now. So I've got the font. I have applied the blur, the tilt and shift blur to that font, but I also want to darken this part of the letter E, which is kind of playing the role for the earth here. So I'm going to come over here and we contract these so they don't take so much space. And just above this, I'm going to click the top one and then do a plus sign. So above this, I have another layer I can work in, and I'm going to drop in some black just going to go right over here to the paintbrush, and be aware that the paintbrush will paint whatever the foreground color is, which is black. And up here at the top, you can change size and hardness. Let's see what this is going to be. Definitely want it bigger than that. Oh, that's too big. Let me just type in some numbers. Let's type 15, see what happens. How does that look down here? Okay, that's good. And it is only 12% hard, meaning this is a very soft brush. It's going to blur a lot at the edge, or fade out is really a better word. The opacity is only 21% right now. I'm just going to make a mark so you can see that. 21%, that's not very dark. So let me pull that opacity up, and let's try to put in some darkness there. Okay, right, so now not only, I don't like that, let me go back on that one. And pull back this opacity there. And just, yes, I'm liking that. That definitely feels like despair. Okay, right, so this whole area of this image is very dark now. Okay, yes. All right, so in the next video, we're going to add the last bit of text that's going to be reading over here, and we're going to emphasize it by using a layer with a rectangle. See you in the next video.